Hello everybody, and welcome to my Kingdoms Reborn Beginner's Guide. In this video, I'll be going over the basics of how Kingdoms Reborn works. I'll be showing you how to kind of set up your city, and I'll be giving some very basic beginner tips on how not to immediately implode and what you should do and kind of what types of buildings to build. Alright, so let's start a new single player game here. And these are kind of the options that I like playing on. I think it makes for a good map. You can always just like set everything to medium; it'll be totally fine. I don't recommend going into a large map size. It sounds cool, but this is an early access game. It's not very well optimized, so later in the game, especially in a large map, things tend to like chug. So I recommend going medium or small. For difficulty, I will be turning it to normal. There is easy, but I think normal is totally fine for a beginner. One thing that you can do is you can hit edit here and you can choose your faction. They're both kind of interesting, unique factions, but the Duchies is the faction that is easiest for beginners, so it's the one that I will be playing here. You can also make yourself look awesome, which if you're building a city and you don't look awesome, like what's the point, right? So I'm going to generate the world and hit start game. So you'll see in a second here, you're going to jump into kind of a little bit of an intimidating looking screen where you can decide exactly where to put down your city. And there's a lot that there's kind of a lot to go like over here. If you really want to kind of dig into the weeds, I have a whole video on like, different starting locations. But really, if you're new, there's really only two things you need to pay attention to. One, you need wood. It's kind of the basic building block of this game. It's how you build all your stuff. So you always want to be in a place with enough wood. And two, you want to avoid anything that is snowy. It's cold. It becomes kind of a big issue in the winter. Just avoid snow. Might as well be lava. Pick anywhere else. And it sounds a little scary when you click around these jungles. They have this like big disease frequency. It's not really that big of a deal. You can easily survive in the jungle. However, for this map, I think I will just kind of pick a random spot. Here, you've got a ton of trees. That's always good. All of these resources, you can buy them, so it's not like a big deal if you don't have them near your city. Really, the only two resources that are like super good are cannabis and tulips. So if you can get near them, that's always great. But if you can't, that's fine. All right. So on this screen, you can like optimize it or whatever, but like you can kind of just get away with just like hitting confirm and just using those as your starting resources and place down your town hall. So if you press R, you can spin your good old town center. And yeah, so I placed my town center down, and you're kind of faced with this like starting card choice. Never pick wheat seeds, trading posts, and investments. Kind of a personal preference thing. For this playthrough, I'm going to pick investment. And if it's your first game, definitely click the guide. But in this video, I am your guide, so I'm going to click no. And then if you click on your town hall, you can add your investment card to your town hall, and it will start making you money. So this right here is kind of the core of the game, this flashing card here. So every 150 seconds, you will get a new hand of cards. And these cards are how you build your building. So you buy these cards with money, and you can buy multiple from the same thing. And then they'll go down into your hand, and then you can place the cards, and then your population will build the buildings. So one thing to talk about really quick here is each of your population, and you start with 12 adults and 6 kids. So kids are completely useless. They just kind of walk around and eat food, right? So you have 12 workers, effectively. And each person has 4 things that need to be taken care of. They need medicine, otherwise they get sick and die. They need tools, otherwise they become very, very inefficient and just kind of bad at their jobs. They need fuel, which can be wood, but it's preferred that you do coal because it's a lot more efficient. When it gets cold out, they will try to heat their houses with the fuel, and if they don't have fuel to heat their houses, they will get cold and work really badly and also die. And finally, food, because, people need to eat, right? So the beginning part of the game is just making sure you have those needs covered. You get a really hefty amount of medicine and iron tools at the beginning of the game, so you really have a couple of years before you need to think about producing medicine or tools, so you can kind of ignore this. Year 1, you really just need to be producing food, and you need to be producing coal. So the best way to produce coal is a charcoal burner, so I am definitely going to buy one of those. There's a bunch of different ways to produce food, but I think for the beginning of the game, avoid ranches. They take too long to get up and running, unless you're kind of like doing something advanced or weird. I'm going to take this hunting lodge because that's going to give me food. I also really, really like fruit gatherers. You can click this to get another card. It's pretty cheap. You start with, a lot of money. It's not that big a deal. Mushroom farms, totally fine. Fishing lodges, never use fishing lodges. They're really, really bad. So fishing lodges and ranches are ranches are really good. They just take a while to get going. And I'm looking for fruit gatherers. All right. So I'm gonna throw down this charcoal burner here. And what's gonna happen is you'll see my population start to build it and clear out all of the trees as they do it. Oh, and you also get every biome has its own special bonus. I'm gonna pick the charcoal burner bonus. Either or. Farm bonus is probably better, but whatever. So all of these people are immediately running to go eat food because they start the game kind of hungry, which is kind of weird. And then you'll see a lot of these people bring wood to this construction site, and then they'll start cutting down the trees and they'll build it up. One thing that is kind of an easy mistake to make is don't queue up too many buildings at one time. You only have 12 people trying to do everything. So if you put down a bunch of different buildings, they're going to be pulled in a bunch of different contractions and things aren't going to be built. But you can easily put down a couple, probably 2 or 3 buildings. And you can, not overwork your population. So fruit gatherers are kind of interesting. They gather in this radius, and they can actually gather outside your territory, which is really great. So I'm going to throw down a fruit gatherer. And then if you click this button or you press B, you can build a road, and I'm going to build a road to the fruit gatherer. So we're going to be working on 2 buildings at once, I guess you could say. All right. So ideally, we want this charcoal burner and then the fruit gatherer and the hunting lodge all up relatively quickly. You'll notice that there's also population and housing space. Basically, you need a house for all of your people. However, your first 28 people are free. They won't leave because they're not free. They won't leave because they won't have houses. So it's not an immediate priority to get them up, but you do want them up by the winter because then they'll get cold and they can't go in the house to warm up. All right, so we have our very first charcoal burner up. I really, really like both these upgrades. They're kind of expensive, but 50% productivity is just super, super powerful, and less wood input is also powerful. So now it has 2 worker slots, and it will have 2 workers, which are right here, and they'll pick up some wood, they will put it in the charcoal burner, and then they will produce coal out of it. 1 charcoal burner is all you need for the first year, though you will want to build more as you kind of expand your population. Now I'm going to throw down another fruit gatherer. If you have too many fruit gatherers in one area, they'll gather all the fruit and then they'll just stop working. But 2 fruit gatherers is not enough to kind of outstrip all of the area that we have around here. And then I also want to put the hunting lodge right next to or adjacent to the fruit gatherers. And the reason is because pest traps is a special upgrade that can only work if they're adjacent to hunters. It actually works across the road, which is nice. So I'm going to upgrade all of the fruit gatherer stuff. Ooh, one more thing is right here. You can press this and you can tell your people to cut down trees or gather also stone works. And I am going to tell my people to cut down a bunch of trees because we are out of wood and we need wood to keep building. This is a speed boost. It boosts all of your worker in a building by 50%. The only thing that I recommend speed boosting early is this charcoal burner, because you're going to need a lot more coal than you realize than you'd kind of expect when it comes to winter, because every single one of your people is going to grab coal and bring it to their house to try and warm up. So you kind of burn through coal pretty quickly. All right, so we have our second fruit gatherer up. I'm going to double upgrade it again. And give my population more trees to cut down. And then I am also going to upgrade my hunting lodge. Hunting lodge also has a bonus that it can only get if it's next to a fruit gatherer, so they all work well together, kind of in tandem. One thing to note is you don't want to cut down all these trees up here because, well, then you're going to run out of trees for your fruit gatherers to gather from, like, next year, for example. So you kind of want to put them in an out-of-way location, and in the future for, like, buildings, I'd want to build kind of away from my little fruit gatherer center over there. So now we have we're starting to get, everything up and running. We have 8 employees. These are the people, making the food and making the coal. We have 5 laborers. They are the people that run around and cut down trees and bring things from point A to point B. And they're also the people that become builders when you put down a building. So now that we have kind of this core set up, we have fuel, we have food coming in, it is time to build houses. So I'm going to open up the build menu and start building some houses. If you build them near your charcoal burner, they will not be happy. You can see this appeals like 64, whereas if I put it like right over here, the appeal, well, it's also going to be 70. This one's 86, so I'm going to throw it down here. Appeal doesn't matter too much, honestly. It's not really that big a deal. If your houses aren't super happy, you can kind of get away with it. And you can do things like building taverns to make your people more happy. So... But yes, I'm going to throw down a bunch of houses. And then I am going to put down some dirt roads to connect everything up. And now we have full storage, which means we've kind of gathered too much and we're out of storage space for everything. So you can also build more storage space, which I'm going to put storage near, I think, here. Because we will have a lot of resources coming in from the fruit gatherers. So if you star something, it will prioritize it. So I'm going to do that because we need more storage, hopefully pretty quickly. And since we have our very first house up, houses are what give you science and they give you money. So we officially have unlocked the tech tree. And I'm going to immediately research foreign trade because trading ports allow you to buy and sell goods, which is super useful. So you can buy if you like messed up and you run out of food or you run out of coal and stuff, you can quick buy it with your money. I'm going to upgrade my charcoal burner again. So I'm going to need more houses. A lot of this game is kind of just building houses, honestly. So I'm just going to keep those kind of going. So as for what to build next, I mean, we're kind of probably in a pretty good spot for both food and charcoal. You can build an immigration office if you're like trying to shoot your city's population into the stratosphere. Immigration offices are great. They bring in more people. You can build a tavern to make your people more happy. As long as your happiness is over 65%, it's not that big of a deal. But, if you want your people to be happy, tavern's always a good thing to do. You could always build like something like a mushroom farm, which works year-round, which is kind of great. And you can also boost it. So if you're not sure if you need more food, I really like putting down a mushroom farm because then you don't have to worry about like when it becomes winter, fruit gatherers are going to shut off, right? The hunting lodge won't, but the fruit gatherers will just stop working. And so suddenly you're just out of food production, which is why you kind of need a stockpile. So if you're not sure if you have enough food, you can throw down a mushroom farm and it will work year round. And you can also boost it if you're out of food, which is super nice. So I'm trying to get up to, you know, kind of catch up on housing space, basically. So now that we have completed an achievement of 25 people, you can unlock a book. A book goes in a building to upgrade it. So, you know, there's a lot of like thoughts on like what I want to upgrade. I'm probably going to take a productivity book and just throw it into my charcoal burner because we only have one charcoal burner. So I want to get as much coal as possible before things kind of keep moving. And now that I'm out of wood again, I want to press the G key to gather, and I want to chop a bunch more trees. And probably chop down here too. So I am building kind of into this little fruit gatherer area. It's not optimal probably, but the fruit gatherers still have like enough kind of trees everywhere that they're not going to run out of things to gather. At least not until like fall basically. So you should be pretty good. I'm gonna boost my charcoal burner again since you can. It's sometimes good to have 2 charcoal burners. You can get away with 1 as long as you upgrade it and boost it, which is what I'm doing here. But you know, if you're not sure, you can always throw down another charcoal burner. It's not that big a deal. But the thing to remember is we have 14 kids now, so we have a lot more mouths to feed. But we only have 13 adults. So right here we're kind of maxed out basically because we have 10 people working. We only have like 3 people actually like, you know, building things and like walking around. So you don't want to build too many things and just run out of people to actually work them. So that's something to really keep in mind. Gonna upgrade this because more efficiency is always better. And just kind of keep chopping down all the trees. So you can buy more provinces. It does get pretty expensive. This is why I'm researching. This is why you want to research foreign trade, because then you can sell goods, like all this leather that we're just kind of racking up, and then buy more provinces to expand your city. So yeah, this city will very easily kind of clear through winter without anyone dying. More than enough food. The coal will just kind of keep going up as I sit here and boost it, and it's fully upgraded. Well, fully upgraded except for this, but this only upgrades if you have more than 1 charcoal burner. So I guess it's time to throw down some more houses. The appeal of these houses will be terrible, but you know, I'm gonna make people live in them anyway. And yeah, Statistics Bureau, and then later you get the Employment Bureau. It's cool to like look at statistics. It doesn't cost anything, but there's not really a reason to like throw it down. And now we have a caravan that came through to allow us to sell goods. So I'm gonna sell a bunch of leather because leather does nothing for us. Later you can turn it into clothes, but right now it's just sitting around basically. So I'm gonna go ahead and sell it, especially since we're out of more storage space. So let's see, where do I want to put more storage space? Probably here next to my charcoal burners. So once you kind of figure out and kind of get all of your basic needs taken care of, like we have a massive food stockpile. We're getting more and more coal. We are not near running out of medicine or iron tools. You can start producing things called luxury goods. So luxuries are like pottery, furniture, beer. There is also cannabis. If I buy this province, I can start farming for cannabis, or something like tulips. And these luxuries will upgrade your houses. So people no longer be living in shacks. They'll actually live in like, you know, interesting houses. And they will, all of your houses will, once they upgrade, will produce more science and more money. And that is kind of the main way of how you like upgrade your city and progress through the game. Most of the game is, you know, make sure people don't die, and then give your people more and more luxuries. And there's different tiers of luxuries as you go up the tech tree, to upgrade your houses, get more science, get richer, all that sort of thing, and just kind of keep going. So that's kind of the main gameplay loop of the game, I guess. But right now, we don't really have access to any luxuries because we do not have this province to farm for cannabis. And it's taken us a little while to research our way into something like, you know, a furniture workshop or potter or a beer brewery. And now we've officially hit winter. So winter is when, as you can see, the fruit gatherers no longer work. We suddenly have a lot more laborers. A lot of times you'll kind of find yourself like struggling to build things and to like have the people to build things. And then suddenly winter will come and you have an influx of laborers, you know, build whatever you want really quick. So we just kind of have to hope that our coal and our food stockpiles keep us going, which they're plenty large for normal difficulty. Higher difficulties mean your people use more resources, so they eat more, they use more coal, they get sick faster, that sort of thing. So you need to have a more efficient city, basically, to have them not like starve to death and stuff like that. But a normal, you have a fair bit of leeway in terms of not running out of food and coal. So, and our city is pretty quickly growing, and that's without any sort of like immigration thing. Yeah, we have a bunch of cards kind of saved up, but as soon as the new year comes around, we're going to run out of workers, basically. So I don't want to throw down too many things. I think I'm going to put down a pig ranch. This is kind of an idea of a way you could, I guess, kind of take your city as you improve it. Ranches they take a lot of investment they take a lot of time, I guess, to kind of build. They won't start giving you output for, 6 months, maybe more, maybe 9 months. I guess like 2 or 3 seasons, I guess I should say. But then once they do start giving you output, they give you like a ton of food. So it's something important to kind of pay attention to. I'm going to, I guess, research beer brewing. It's a good luxury to kind of start with if you don't have like all of the luxuries kind of, or if you don't have like cannabis or tulips to go for. It's a pretty simple luxury to get. So a trading post, you want a trading post and not a trading port if you're landlocked. If you are on the sea, then build a trading port because it's a little bit better. And I'm going to throw down a trading post as well because this is going to allow me to build or to buy and sell a bunch of goods to hopefully get rich and potentially import things that I might need. So I think that's all there is to talk about as to kind of like a basic way of how to build like a beginner-friendly city. This is something this is how I'd kind of, teach someone how to play the game, I guess you could say. And yeah, feel free to obviously experiment. If you have any like specific questions, just like comment down below and I'll try to answer them. I have a bunch of different random Kingdoms Reborn guides that are, more in depth on how this all works and how to be efficient and about like how the different factions work and everything like that. So definitely check those out. I have a Let's Play series where I play the entire game without food on the highest difficulty, which is kind of interesting. And yeah, I'm just kind of speeding through to the end of the year so I can show you guys, what a full year of no deaths or anything like that looks like. This isn't the most like optimal way if you're trying to play multiplayer and like beat your friends, but this is kind of a good solid setup to just kind of start in your city. And you should have a good ton of food, actually. A lot more food production than consumption, so your city can grow a lot next year and you'll be still fine. And yeah, I think that will finish up the guide. Here you can trade, you can like buy goods and sell goods and everything like that, which is super useful. I want to thank you guys for watching. Subscribe and let me know what you think down in the comments. Thanks.